It's your host with the most from the YouTube show, So What Do You Do? And if you don't know what you do, you need to ask yourself, so what do you do? And if you do know what you do, you've come to the right YouTube channel, you've come to the right Instagram page, because here on So What Do You Do, we like to promote every entrepreneur from different businesses and backgrounds, whether you are a dog trainer, a model, a teacher, a librarian, a NFL player, NBA player, whatever it is that you do, we want to promote it here on So What Do You Do in the most enlightening and the most positive way that is imaginable. Excuse me. Excuse me. So without further ado, we'd like to give a special shout out to Melanie, who is based out of New York City, who is a published model, freelance model, photographer, and she is continuously growing each and every single day. And I cannot wait to hear her journey, to hear how she has just been growing and what it is that she do and what she expect in this upcoming year. So without further ado, let me go ahead and send her this invite. And shout out to Zach Woods. Zach Woods is always putting out great material. Melanie, hey, how's it going?
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me today.
Definitely. It's a pleasure to have you, and thanks for joining us. Happy Monday. It's a beautiful Monday.
Yes, indeed.
What brings you to the modeling world? How did you even get started? I've done my research on who you are. You started off as a photographer. I see that you have a photography page where you can, where you post all of your photography. How did you actually get in to become a photographer as well as a model?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for that amazing intro. That was so good. I've actually started off, I've always loved photography. So I just always had a passion for it. And I actually didn't get into modeling until college. So
Oh, wow.
around, sophomore year of college, I took a photography class and I was taking pictures just to build my portfolio. And I had a friend at the time that had a professional camera. So we were just going out, having fun, hanging out and shooting. And I was like, wow, like this is really fun. And I kind of grew a passion for it. And I was like, wow, like you could actually like do this as a business and, you can have so many avenues with it. And
Right.
it just kind of spiraled from there. It was kind of like a snowball effect. And I had a photographer hit me up and he's like, wow, I really like your photos. Like, let's collab. And from there, it just like nonstop
That's
until like
amazing.
today.
No,
Yeah.
that really is amazing. That really is amazing. So are you originally from New York City?
Born and raised in Brooklyn.
Born and raised in Brooklyn. So you already know what it takes to be a model, to become a photographer. It's similar to the California lifestyle of becoming a tech type of person, or someone who is in the Los Angeles area who is trying to become an actor or actress. You know what it takes. And with that being said, I know there was some type of trials and tribulations with, just getting your foot in the door. Like you said, it took a time until someone actually reached out to you and said, hey, I actually love your work. I want to collab with you. How did that actually make you feel to know that all of your work since college and even leading up to college and after college started to get recognized from other individuals who was in that same industry?
I think it's all about trusting the process, to be honest. I
Yeah.
mean, when you have a passion for something, it really does show within your work, and people really do see that. So, from that first time that photographer hit me up, and I wanted to just keep going and keep going, people notice that it's just, you're so passionate about it. So I would say just, it's also tunnel vision. Like having that like focused mindset, and you never stop. So
Right.
but I think the main thing about like being in the modeling industry, you have to be very versatile, in a sense. So I learned so many aspects about myself as a person. I got to push myself out of my comfort zone, try different things, and realize that I am not just like a model. I also do like content creating. I'm an influencer.
Right.
I do photography sometimes. You can really recreate yourself in this industry as much as you want. And I think the more versatile you are, the better chance you are of more opportunities and just like broadening your spectrum and seeing who you really are as a person. I think from the time I started modeling till now, I mean, I've learned so many new aspects about myself that I don't think I would have learned anywhere else.
I mean, and you know what? Just to piggyback off of that, because you know, you talk about having tunnel vision, you talk about like just the creativeness of being a model, being an influencer, being a content creator, being a marketer. When those creative juices aren't really flowing as well as you know you would like them to be flowing for that day or for that month, how does Melanie actually get into a zone where she can refocus, readjust, and focus on the task at hand as far as respecting the process as you was mentioning?
I think one of the main things that I learned throughout this journey is to take breaks and
Yeah.
really like recenter, because yes, you want to have tunnel vision, yes, you want to, you know, do everything, but if you don't take a step back and focus on your personal life and focus on whatever's going on, you're going to burn yourself out. And then you're going to lose the passion that you had in the beginning. And I've
Totally
reached
agree.
that point several times in my career where I was like, you know, what am I doing? Like, I feel like nothing's working. And, you know, sometimes taking a break and taking a step back from social media or, you know, any industry that you're in is super important, just to like reset and get your mind back to where you want to be. It's all a process and it's all a balance, because if you're unbalanced with this, you know, social media can be very toxic. And if you do not recenter yourself, you will be like sucked in, and you know, you won't even realize like what was the main purpose of your goal to begin with.
Yeah, no, I would definitely have to agree to that. There's been some pages where I'm like, you know what, I've been following this page for some time now, and it's not really getting me the creative juices, or it's been getting me in trouble. You know, let me go ahead and actually unfollow this page and you know, just readjust to the things that I actually want to start seeing. And it's like you said, it works out. You know, with that being said, you know, you always find creativeness as a photographer, as a model, as a content creator, where the world is a creation, and you can literally, you know, on one of your posts, you can literally go to a laundromat, you know, and set up shop. And if you have the confidence to be able to take those photos, or if you have the confidence to be able to model in those photos, it can come out looking great. It can come out looking fantastic. How do you find the locations as a photographer, as a content creator, and as a model? How do you find these locations where you can actually sit down and say, this is the spot where I want to, you know, take this photograph, or this is the spot where I want to pose in front of this beautiful coffee shop and make it seem like it's bigger than life? You know, how do you actually go about that process?
I think honestly, I just love walking around New York. Um,
Yeah, New York is
it's
beautiful.
it's
Yeah,
it's really
yeah, New
like
York is a
I
beautiful
love
area.
just going to the city and just like walking around, and it'll just hit me. Like I'll be walking and I'll be like, I'll look at like a wall or something. I'll be like, wow, like this is a really dope spot. So I'll like mark it on like my Google Maps, or I'll mark it down somewhere. And when the time comes for when I want to do a specific shoot, I'll be like, boom, like I know this spot. I also really reference a lot of my creators and models and photographers within this industry that I want to be, that are on my team, and that I kind of just like ask like, hey, where did you shoot that? That's so dope. And you know, everybody kind of just works together to push each other up. So that's why it's really super important to have good people behind your back on your team that are just going to uplift you, and everyone is kind of on the same mindset, because if you
Right.
don't have that, it's like it gets very toxic. So I'm super grateful that I'm in a community that everybody really just uplift each other. But yeah, mainly just like going on walks and asking other creatives. Like don't ever be afraid to ask anybody
Right.
for advice. I mean, worst comes to worst, they don't answer you, they just say no.
Right. Yeah, no, totally agree to that. You know, So Wavy, shout out to So Wavy. He actually said that's a dope technique. I was just thinking like, damn, you know, that is actually a smart idea. If I find a location that I like, Google, like, you know, save it in my Google Maps or mark that location. Because I be thinking the same thing, like, dang, you know, I got this photographer. I just don't be having a location. San Francisco is so big, you know, you can obviously find different locations, but there's only like so many spots where you are randomly walking and you just see this beautiful mural and you're like, oh, I've never seen this and I've lived here all my life, you know. So
Yep. And things are
I
always
definitely
popping up
agree to
on the
that.
daily. So
Yeah,
especially here in New
exactly.
York, like
Exactly.
There's always something new, so you always just gotta like, if you see it, mark it, put it in your like notes or whatever, and just make sure you get back to it when you have like the perfect concept for it.
No, yeah, look, I totally agree. And speaking of just locations, uh, has there been a time where you actually have gone outside of New York and possibly went to, let's say Seattle or even California and actually shot photographs in other locations beside NYC?
Yeah, so I actually collabed with a photographer in Miami.
Oh,
It was a
wow.
process,
Yeah,
but
I bet,
we
I
got
bet.
it done. And it was a really cool experience to kind of like go out. Like this was totally out of my comfort zone. I've never been to Miami before. So I was just hitting up photographers and this one got back to me. So I was like, I bet let's just go shoot somewhere that he knew, and I like just went, and it was really dope because this person was so cool, and now I have a connection in Miami. So it's just always
Right.
about networking.
And that's really good. I feel like as entrepreneurs, obviously, it's always about networking. It's always about just collaborating and meeting new people. Now, as far as the modeling goes and choosing a photographer, uh, sometimes I feel like there can be photographers who are saying they're photographers and may not have like the skills, or maybe it's just like really is doing it for you know fun just to take photos. How do you go about actually choosing a photographer? How does that process work out for you?
I think one of the important things to recognize is to know your worth. So, when looking for a photographer, I look for not necessarily following, just like the quality of content and how like passionate they are about their work, and where they're networking, like who they know, and if honestly, if I really like their work, regardless of following or any of that, if I want to work with them and I think that their content will fit my page, like aesthetically, or their concepts are really dope, like I'll work with them. Also, like when I work with a photographer, the vibes, obviously when I meet them, it has to be professional, and just
Right,
a good vibe, because I'm the type of
right,
person that likes to feed off energy. So if I meet you and the energy isn't right, like I won't work with you again. So it's just like certain criteria just to keep my circle safe and just to not bring any bad energy to the
totally
mix,
agree. No, I totally agree. And with that being said, we're actually going to take a quick turn in this interview. I noticed that you were also a part of a wonderful game that I'm actually sponsored by called That's Dope, which is the game for the strongest opinions. I actually have it with me right here, right now, and I'm
Oh,
going to
no
ask
way.
you. I'm gonna ask you a few questions where you can either say nope, dope, and just give your reason of why. You know how the game goes. Uh,
Got
so
you.
the first question for you, Melanie, is actually that's probably gonna be the third, fourth question. Asking to cut in line if you're running late. Is that dope or no?
I say nope, especially here in New York. Like, no one wants to hear your sob story. Like, everybody got to go somewhere. So everyone got to be somewhere. Like, your story is not better than the next one. Just wait your turn and mind your neck.
Look, I like how you say, especially if you're in New York, you're just gonna have to wait your turn. No one cares if you're running late. You should have woke up earlier. Brushing your teeth in the shower, nope or dope?
Dope. I do it all the time. It saves
All the
me so
time.
much time. I just multitask. I'll be brushing my teeth and just be going out. Trust me, it saves you a lot of time. So I say dope.
Okay, I like this one. And by the way, these are all life choices. Uh, Using the revolving door instead of a regular door, nope or dope?
I mean, I say dope. I use it sometimes. I feel
Oh,
like it's faster. So it depends though, because sometimes people like be stuck in it, but I,
yeah,
I just
yeah.
I just use it. It works for me, so I say dope.
You know what? That one is actually going to be a nope for me because I actually was just using the revolving door a ton this weekend, and I kept saying like, man, I always get stuck, or I'm like way too tall or too big. I feel like my feet is too big. I feel like I'm always going to be hitting the door. So that one might be a no for me. uh, and the last one is using a hand basket instead of a cart at grocery stores? Nope
Oh,
or dope?
I say dope because I'm tiny and I'm short and small. So, I like holding the little handle like in my arm as opposed to like
There you
lugging that whole
go.
cart. Especially if I'm
There
not
you
like
go.
if I'm not getting a lot of groceries. I just use that.
Right, yeah, right, and that's the perfect reason. Well, yeah, I feel like all of your reasons of why you would use the basket makes perfect sense. Again, thank you for playing That's Dope with
Yeah,
us.
of course.
That's the game for the strongest opinions. Make sure you guys go pick that up at Amazon. Make sure you go follow them. That's Dope the game. Use the promo code SWDYD20 to get 20% off. I'm actually looking at your link tree right now. And I was going to ask, Melanie, how do you, if a photographer wanted to say, hey, I'm in, New York, or, I would love to fly you out to, Miami, for example. How does that process usually work for you? Can they go to your link tree? Do they reach out through you or reach out to you through DM, TikTok? How does that process usually go for you?
So typically, when a photographer wants to reach out, typically through my DMs, my link tree is there. Of course, it's connected to my modeling portfolio as well. So photographers can contact me through there as well. There's a contact tab on the page, and that sends straight to my email. So either way, I would get the message. But most of the time through Instagram DM, because I'm always on Instagram, it's just easier for me. But I also have a book now button on my page, as well as my contact email that people can just contact me.
Photographers, videographers, content creators, if you guys are looking for a model, if you guys are looking for a photographer as well to collab with, make sure you reach out to Melvxb on her Instagram. Like she said, she already has a book me, a book now. You can contact her on her DMs. Go look at her link tree, go see what she's about. A wonderful person. And like I said, based out of New York City. Melanie, when you're well, I should actually rephrase that question. What is your motivation and your inspiration to actually want to continue to model, want to continue to be a photographer, want to continue to be a freelancer, want to continue to, just be an entrepreneur and a businesswoman? What is your motivation and inspiration behind that?
My main motivation is just to change the game. Like, I
Yeah.
never saw representation of me growing up in the industry at all. And when you think your work doesn't make a difference, it really does. Like, even when you're having your bad days, like I'll tell you an example. I was at a networking event about 2 months ago, and I was just kind of in a rut, like creatively, and just going through it. And this photographer came up to me that I never met before, and he was like, I absolutely love your work. I've been following your work for a while, and I just want to know, like, I don't come up to people like this, but it's an honor to meet you, and
Wow.
just keep doing what you're doing. Like, even when you think people aren't watching, they are. And when he said that, I was like so shook. I never had anyone come up to me and just
Right.
say that, and it just really motivated me. Like, wow, like people are really watching what you do, and they're really inspired by your work, and that's what keeps me going. And he was like the nicest person ever. I shot with him. He was so grateful. I definitely will work with him in the future. And it's just like things like that, like, is what keeps me going every single day. And it's like people really are inspired by my work, and the fact that I could possibly change the industry one day, and just like people can look up to me and be like, wow, like she looks like me, I want to, if she can do it, I can do it. And that's what keeps me pushing every day, and that's why I do what
I can tell that you're just excited about that whole conversation and just going back
I do.
because you got this smile on your face, like, and it shows. It really is amazing. Uh, my dad used to always tell me, like, you're going to be doing all of this amazing things, and you may not get the recognition for it, but as soon as you have one false slip up, people is going to start hounding you and hounding you and hounding you. Like, look at, I'm not sure if you're familiar with basketball or not, but Russell Westbrook is the perfect example of what's going on. Like, he's been this phenomenal
Mm-hmm.
athlete, and as soon as he have a quick miss up, everybody, oh no, it's just all on his back. But it it takes one person or two people to just say, hey, I recognize what you're doing. You're doing a fantastic job. Maybe everybody's not saying it, but keep up the good work and keep on motivating. And those two people out of the other 100 that was already just, saying all of this negative stuff, those two people have washed all of that stuff away because now it's like, dang, there are actually people watching, and those 100 people are actually watching me also. they're just waiting for the wrong things, you
Yeah.
know. So keep, like you said, just keep that motivation. You know, like you said, people are watching you. People, young women are also following your page and watching you. So, like you said, you know, just when you get that creative juice and it's not really flowing, just remember that there are the younger generation that is watching you, and even the older generation that may have a hand in what you are doing as well. So. You should definitely stay proud of what you're doing. So I congratulate you.
Thank you so much.
No, definitely, definitely. Melanie, at this time, I usually give the guests, a few minutes to just, promote, say whatever it is that they want to say, promote what it is, whatever it is that they want to promote. But before you do that, I want to ask, it's a brand new year. The first month is almost up. It's not up yet. I don't want to get there too soon, but it's almost up. What is some of your goals for this 2022? What is something that you are looking to accomplish for this year?
Honestly, I think just pushing my brand to the next level, growing my team, kind of outsourcing my brand. Because at the moment I do everything on my own. So my goal is to really like outsource and have people, kind of have that like outside source so I could just like build up my brand. That's just the goal, and I'm just gonna focus on that all year.
Well, hey, look, keep it going. That's all you got to do is just stay consistent. It seems like you've been doing that. You're on all the platforms. You got your link tree up. Just keep staying consistent. Keep dropping the content like you've been doing, and who knows? You may wake up the next day. You have so many followers now. You may wake up the next day and someone share a photo, and you're like, well, where are all these DMs and all these messages and stuff? So, that's how social media and how this new world is sort of evolving. But it's great to know that if you're staying consistent, one day and someday your work is going to get recognized, even on a much larger scale than what it is now. So, Melanie, like I said, keep going, keep staying consistent. At this time, I want to give you the opportunity to, promote whatever it is that you want to promote, say whatever you want to say, shout out anybody you want to shout out, whether it's a photographer, somebody who does your makeup, lashes, hair, whatever it is that you want to talk about. The floor is all yours.
Thank you so much. I mean, if you guys want to check me out, I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Melvxb. That's Melvxb. I'm going to be dropping some new YouTube videos coming in the new year. So everything is down on my link tree below. If you guys want to contact me and book a shoot, I'm based in NYC, so the 5 boroughs around there. Check out the book now button on my page, as well as my contact information. My modeling portfolio is also on my link tree, so check it out and let's work together.
Let's look. If you guys are ever in NYC, if you guys are ever to look for a model who can fly out from NYC, and you guys want to collab with her, like she said, hit that book now. Make sure you guys go give her a follow. Thank you everyone who is watching now and is going to be watching this later on IGTV. And make sure you guys go get the game. That's dope. The game for the most strongest opinions out there. You've heard some. I heard dope and no questions and answers. So let's hear some of you guys' favorites. So Wavy, thank you guys for always watching. So what do you do? There you have it for Melanie at Melvxb. Make sure you give her a follow.